Good morning to my second video of today. This is 4046, and yes, this is a Babylon 5 video. Today we're talking about Series 3 of Babylon 5. This delivers. A lot of it delivers. The early part of the season is dealing with the consequences at the end of the Narn Centauri War. It then comes to light that the Shadows have been doing many more things than and lots of people seem to know things about them that no one else knows about them. This is about the third season. I have been informed since that unfortunately these seasons are not as cheap as they initially were on Amazon Prime, and I do apologise for that. I do believe I did see Series 1 at one time at £2 for entire season, but I believe since then it's been said that pointed out to me that they're about £8 and upwards. If you can get that, you can get this on the secondary market. Amazon sells them as well. Many places other than Amazon sell it. A lot of them are used because obviously they take up a fair bit of space, or for a time nothing happened with Babylon 5 in brief spates. At the moment, as a separate thing, I've only got 2 books left to get. Obviously reading them is going to take a bit longer, but they are starting to get into silly money territory for a book that was £5 to being out of print, not even on e-books, which is a shame, being £20 and upwards. Anyway, back to the meat and the potatoes of this, and this is the third season. In this season you get introduced 2 new characters. Well, you get Lita Alexander becomes the main character again and returns after what happened to Talia Winters in the last season, and you get a new character who's a ranger called Marcus Cole, and he is pretty much like a ranger's a very odd kind of name, but they basically keep their eyes on what's going on in the galaxy and then report it back and see what they can do about said situation. Mainly formed to fight the Shadows eventually in open conflict. So you have a whole group, a faction called the Rangers, which are led by Jeffrey Sinclair and their human Adler Minbari. So there's a unity of working together to defeat the ancient evils of the Shadows. Also see a lot more of Caution this season, and then Sheridan being drawn into this whole thing, and Delenn being seems to be the main power couple in the whole thing to be honest, but this delivers on a lot of story arcs. This resolves the Babylon 4 thing which you saw in season 1 and Sector 14, so it explains exactly who stole it, why it happened and where it went, which is quite a nice delivery, and it is also a 2-part episode, and it's definitely worth a watch, but that comes a little bit later. And then you have the main point, which is the breakaway from Earth, and this is a blinding episode. It is so much happens in the space of 40 odd minutes that it is something in its own right. It's again something of its time, but no one else was doing things like that at the time, space battles and all that kind of stuff, boarding actions and everything at that time. Even Star Trek was a little bit behind by that point. Their biggest thing at that point had been War 359, which was, it was it was okay, but it's very brief. Whereas, literally, for this episode, the stuff was ready on the day of transmission. So it took so long to do it that they got all that stuff on the day of transmission to add to it, or at least within a day or two of transmission, because it took so long to animate. That being said, it's very, very good. Obviously, Bester, your recurring favourite villain. Well, he's not really a villain. He wants the best for his people, but he doesn't care how far he goes and what he does to do this. But I would definitely suggest this season. They definitely seem to have upgraded. Well, no, they haven't upgraded the rating of this. There's some good standalone stories. There's a sort of brotherhood of a priest service type order that come in, and Brad Dourif is there's quite a few famous actors in these particular episodes who turns out that in this society, if you are accused of murder, then you basically get death of personality. So they'll wipe your mind, and then they'll put you into job, sort of a service type job, to repay your debt to society. This guy, however, there's a fire or something, and then joins this where he was, and then joins the order in mysterious circumstances. However, during that episode, passing through Gethsemane, he plays a great character. He really does, and unfortunately, as always with Brad Dourif's characters, they always meet in an untimely end. And this doesn't go without saying. The people, the victims of the families that he murdered, find him, and then start to try to break the mind wipe, which they do manage to do, but they torment him in doing it. They start leaving him black roses everywhere, because his signature, as in what he did, was a black rose. And unsurprisingly, he's found kind of crucified at the end of it, and the person that did it remains behind, so that he has it done to him, but doesn't regret having done it. It's better to watch the episode than for me to do a breakdown of it. I digress. Well, I don't really digress, because this is season 3. There's some strange story arcs, like one of them is more or less about the first person that started the Earth Minbari War by pressing the buttons to start firing on the Prometheus at the Minbari vessels, and that started the Earth Minbari Wars, which he just had a mental breakdown, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. He plays it very good, and I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in Logan's Run, and many other things as well. The name slips my mind at the moment. He plays it well. It's a nice little standalone episode. Again, it's one of those episodes that isn't in the fandom scene very well. It's not a popular episode, but it's an interesting one to see the effects of what somebody that's gone through traumatic, got PTSD basically, so they've fled into themselves, and using Arthurian legend to live, shall we say. The Shadow War also, there's so much that happens in this season. The Shadow War starts ramping up as well, so by this time the Shadows have started attacking other races openly, Now, the biggest problem with it is that they started wars with all the League of Non-Aligned Worlds to weaken their defences, so that when they attacked, they were so weakened that they couldn't defend against them. So this particular season has a cliffhanger at the very end of it. We only had to wait. No, I think we had to wait a year or 8 weeks for it. I can't remember exactly, because this is way back in 1996. So a very good year. But the US had to wait. I think I had to wait a year, whilst we only had to wait 8 weeks or something like that between seasons 3 and 4. But yeah, this one pays off. This pays off a great deal. This has got some. I'd say 75% of the episodes are top shelf. They're very good. I would definitely recommend watching this season. This by far is the best season so far. This season has a lot going for it. I'm lucky enough to actually own the DVD for it. Our streaming services, there currently is a petition by Jamie Michael Stachinsky to try and reboot the series as a whole. I haven't actually watched the new standalone The Road Home yet, but I will get round to that when I get it, which hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months I will get myself a copy, a legal copy, not something like this you don't download because it hurts chances of them making any more, and that's one way to take away from it really. I've never downloaded anything myself. These days, if you do without a VPN, you get a letter from your internet service provider telling you to stop doing it. But if it's something that's worth having, or even just streaming, then they still get everybody involved in that still gets paid. So that's the main thing. Just like with downloading music and things, you just subject yourself to Spotify or something, or iTunes, and you just listen to the music, but then that still means the people involved still get paid, so they can produce more of the music that you like. The market is now pretty much it's pretty cheap compared to if you had to buy all those albums that you were listening to, as these days they're just not. Anyway, that was a tangent, I do apologise. But yes, I definitely recommend this series, and I would definitely recommend watching it. If you've watched the first 2 seasons, watch the first 2 seasons before watching this, because this sorts out quite a few elements of ties up elements from seasons 1 and 2. This is why I think Babylon 5 is a great series. However, I will be reviewing other shows and stuff over time. There will be the odd special when I can actually get some time off work and actually shoot on location talking to somebody about a particular period of the 80s or 90s, especially our memories of certain music festivals which we attended, which seem like a distant memory now, but sadly they are what they are, and they were quite good. Anyway, this is 4046. Please like, please subscribe, and see you in the next video.